Tonight we are joined by RJ Montes. Did I pronounce your last name right, RJ? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an S, but it sounds like a Z, so it's all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And I was gonna say, you pronounced my first name right too, RJ, right? Like, I always have to say.
Can't go wrong there.
I always have to say RJ, just the initials RJ, because people have spelled it ARJAY too. So that's great. That's fantastic. We're on a roll.
Oh, that's good. We're starting the night. It started a little rocky, but we're good. So yeah, RJ is a 2002 marketing alum from the Fayette campus, and he resides near Dubuque, Iowa. And so why don't you I know there's several things you want to talk about. So why don't you just give us a brief introduction and tell us a little bit about yourself tonight before we get started.
2002. So I know it's cliche to say, but man, that is aging me. Like, I'm getting up there, but I got to tell you, I feel younger now than I did like 10 years ago. So it's all good. But yeah, I am just, I'm blessed. I'm honored. Thank you so much, Ann, and thank you so much, Dr. Duffy, for inviting me to just be a part of this alumni series. I mean, this is such a cool thing to do because, we're not here to talk at people. We're just here to share insights and to collaborate with each other so we can raise everybody's awareness, right? So I think this is just a super cool idea. I think it's a great thing that you all are doing, and I'm just humbled that you asked me to be a part of it. As you mentioned, I graduated from Upper Iowa in 2002. A brief history for me is I was in what they call an Air Force brat. So I really didn't grow up anywhere in particular. I was all over the place. We lived in military housing. But prior to coming to Upper Iowa, I had grown up in the high desert of Southern California, where my dad was last stationed. So, was out there, really got introduced into athletics, played football at a junior college out there, and then had the opportunity to come play football at Upper Iowa. So after spending some time at Upper Iowa, I did take advantage of the career development department and was able to get prepared to interview for jobs. And, my initial thought was, hey, I'm just going to go interview for jobs in Iowa. So when I go back home to California, I'll be ready, right? But because of the great services as a career development, your department there, I landed a really good job in Des Moines with a large bank. And so I took that, and then I worked there in Des Moines for a while, moved to the Quad Cities where I eventually met my wife. Then we were moved again by the organization up to Dubuque. At that time, just some things had changed, and I decided to leave that organization, and I then joined the organization that I'm at today, and I've been here for about 14 years. It's Dupaco Community Credit Union. We're a member-owned cooperative, and it was just an organization that aligned with my values a little bit more, the people helping people and people over profits philosophy that we hold. So we've been here now, my wife, Lynette, and I, we've been here, now since 2006. We have a daughter, Layton, who's 8, a daughter, Raylan, who's 5. So I'm in a house full of girls, and that's super cool. I hear it's really cool now, but it's not going to be cool like 5, 6, 7 years. I hear it's not going to be that cool. So we'll see. But our dog, Odie, he's a male, so I got him, but then we were even with our fish Pearl because he was a guy, but he died last week, so now I'm outnumbered, so I think we need to get another fish. But no, I work at Dupaco, and what I do at Dupaco is just, outside of titles, I really serve our in-branch network. I serve our branch managers so they can best serve our team members and serve our members through the engagement, education, and empowerment. So that's a little bit of that on the side. I love, and I'm extremely passionate about the sport of triathlon. So my main hobby is training, preparing, and racing in triathlon. So that's it in a nutshell.
That's you in a nutshell. Great. So speaking of racing, I know you had just completed one this past weekend, and I know that that's kind of the main theme of your talk, race your own race. So what does racing your own race mean to you? And why is that a big part of who you are and who you've become?
Yeah. So, I had the opportunity for the first time. I know we're all kind of getting back to our previous activities, and I think it's a blessing. It really is. And you just really, I think some of the things that we took for granted before, we really understand how grateful we are to have these. I was down there with a great group of people racing in Chattanooga, Ironman Chattanooga, and I got a little emotional after, just because it was just so amazing to be back at it after 2 years of not being able to race because of what we were dealing with the pandemic and COVID. And but the race your own race, I mean, coaches talk about it all the time. Endurance athletes, we always have to remind ourselves to race our own race and not get caught up in somebody else's race, because we don't know where they're coming from, what they've done. And we have to trust in our own training. We have to trust in ourselves. We have to trust that that we have prepared ourselves the best as possible to race our own race. And a lot of races are long races, right? So what might be today might not what be tomorrow. So I'm extremely passionate about it, because my mission in life is to motivate and inspire others to be the best that they can be in any given moment of their life, right? And we're all in different parts of our life, right? We're all in different, we see things through a different perspective. We're continued to be told by so many different aspects that we live in this binary world, and we don't. We live in such a beautiful, colorful world. It's not black and white. It's not red and blue. There's so much more dynamics within it. So it's like, we sometimes do get caught up in what other people are doing, or we get caught up in other people's successes, or we get caught up thinking that we're just, we're continually failing when actually we're learning, right? And so it's just to understand that, Teddy Roosevelt said it best when he said, comparison is the thief of real joy, right? Like, and what I translate that to is, look at social media. There's so many great things. Social media is not the devil. Now, what do we use it for, right? But think about social media and what it's done as far as that comparison. Why? Because we're seeing everybody's highlight reels, okay? Like, I promise you, not everybody's on vacation 365 days a year. It's just you have like 500 friends that are on vacation at different times, right? So it's like, just race your race and make sure that you're just, as we're going to talk about, just investing in the process and just taking it one step at a time, right? Like, if I'm doing an Ironman, I'm not thinking about mile 140, which is the last mile of the race. What I'm thinking about is, where am I at today? What am I doing right now? And how am I investing to prepare myself to take that next step forward?
Wonderful. I know that you have touched on it just a little bit already, and it's actually the next question that I have, but it is a question that has come in from our Facebook. So how did you get to Upper Iowa, and why have you stayed in Iowa all these years after?
Oh, that is a fantastic question. How did I get to Upper Iowa? Well, funny story. The coach at the time, the coach at Upper Iowa at the time, Coach Johnston, who is near to my heart, but he was actually recruiting a friend of mine on our JUCO team, and my friend decided to go another place, but he said, "Hey, I got this friend well, okay, yeah, I really wasn't getting any other offers to play anywhere, so so Coach said, "Hey, just come on out." And so originally I said, "No, I don't. I'm not really even sure where Iowa is at the time. I wasn't really sure." And I was like, "I don't think so." But, later that summer, I was laying tile with a friend of mine who had gone and played at another school. And I was laying tile, and I was talking about, the JUCO football and the high school football and what I could have done or could have done this. And he said something that really stood with me. And he said, "You can sit here and talk about that, or you can go and do something about it." And he goes, "You're going to regret the rest of your life not doing something about it. I promise you that." So I called Coach a week before camp, and I said, "I know I said I wasn't going to come, but can I come?" And he said, "Absolutely." So I booked a flight to Minneapolis. That was the only flight I could get into at the time. Booked a flight into Minneapolis. I flew in. I was like, "Oh, this is cool. And then we drove the 3 hours south, and I'm like, where did I just end up? And you know, like one thing that my parents always instilled in me is like, you know, following through with your commitment. So at first I was really like, okay, yeah, I'm probably going home after the semester. But some amazing things happened, and I met some incredible people. I'm sorry. You there? I'm sorry.
No, I'm here. Yep, we're good.
It blanked out. I met some incredible people, and the camaraderie and the team really, really grew on me. And I talked about it, but I finished up there with a marketing degree. I was supposed to graduate in December, but I decided I wanted to graduate with everybody else. So I decided to take, I think it was like I took walking and fishing for the last semester just so I could graduate, you know, with and walk with everybody in June of 2002. And then, yeah, I worked with the career development team at the time, and they really prepared me really well to interview, and I got a really good job. And I just decided to take the opportunity to work for that organization at the time. And then when I moved to the Quad Cities, I met my beautiful wife, and that's what's kept me in Iowa. She's from a small town just north of here in Wisconsin, and she certainly wasn't moving to California, so that's where we've stayed, and I love it.
Good. We're glad that you made the decision to come to Upper Iowa. You were able to have all those experiences. So I know that we have talked about career readiness in our different conversations that we've had. And I know that it's a hot topic within higher education and career services professionals in general. What competencies do you feel are most important in helping one excel in their chosen path?
And that's the hard thing, because you got to pick just one, right? But
you don't have to. You can pick whatever you want. There are so many of them to choose from. So, but just, yeah, what are some of the most important, those important competencies that can help individuals excel?
Yeah, I do have some favorites, and it's like I tell my kids, like, you can only have one favorite. Both of you can't be my favorite, but hey, you work hard at it, you can be my favorite today. So, our competencies at Tobacco, I really believe in, and it's community support, initiative, people helping people, job knowledge, quality and quantity of work, and problem-solving ability. But I looked, we were talking about the career readiness one, and it really delved into the professionalism and the work ethic, right? Like, here's the thing. The young people coming out of school, or even, where I shouldn't classify just young, right? The people that are coming out of school are so incredibly knowledgeable, and we have so much knowledge right here at our fingertips. It's not about teaching what to think. It's really coaching and developing how to think. And so what I think about it is, I think about professional maturity. I think about integrity. I think about those things. I think about EQ, or emotional intelligence. So when I look at the professionalism and work ethic, the things that stand out to me are the personal accountability, the communication, the integrity, and the interest in a larger community. So that's what I think is like, I think it's really powerful. So it's professional maturity.
Absolutely. So that kind of ties in then to the next thing that I'd kind of like to talk about. In some of the recent conversations we've had, you've mentioned that there's 5 insights that that have continually helped you search for answers in racing your best race. Can you talk about those 5 insights and how they are going to, how they can impact others?
Okay, and I told you I have notes because I could go on for like hours about this, and I know we only have so much time, and we don't want to bore the audience because their time is so incredibly valuable. And again, everybody that's out there, or anybody that's watching, like, thank you, because we know your time is so incredibly valuable. So it's really important to acknowledge that. And yeah, there's 5, right? And it's not clickbait. Okay, there's not like this quick, you get the clickbait, like, here's the 3 easy steps to success, or here's the 5 things you can do and not have to ever work a day in your life. Like, I don't believe in that. I actually believe in the opposite of it. I believe that we shouldn't be comfortable. I believe that we do, like, I'm not afraid that I do work for a living, right? Like, I love it. I'm passionate about it, and it's my life's work. So it's okay. Work's not a 4-letter word. But I do believe that you should have the things that you really understand your core values, right? You understand what's going to keep you in your true north. Because there was a period in my life where I lost my true north. I lost my true north after graduating Upper Iowa. Shortly after, I lost my mom, unfortunately, due to her committing suicide. And she dealt with depression her whole life, and I share that, just not because it's you know, I'm not talking about what I overcame. I'm talking about it because I'm a human being. I'm like all of you, right? Like, we're all humans and we all have a story. But I lost my way because I didn't have a true north, because I didn't really understand my values at the time. And I talked about, I worked for another organization, and the organization in their own right does what they do, but I wasn't doing what I loved. I wasn't doing what I was passionate about. And I didn't really feel that I was helping other people. I was just earning a paycheck, right? And I was just trying to climb this corporate ladder, so to speak. And I'd kind of lost my way. So, you know, as an athlete, I had also always been, you know, in shape, and I lost my way there too. So I had lost my way mentally. I had lost my way drastically physically. I mean, I was, you know, incredibly overweight. I had lost my way spiritually, and I really didn't know. And then when we found out that we were going to have our first daughter, Layton, which was about 9 years after we lost my mom, I really decided that I had to make a change. I had to make a change because I didn't want to just coexist with my children. I didn't want to just live life just by being there. I wanted to actually experience life with them, and I wanted to lead by example. And I knew what I was doing, eating whatever I want, drinking all the time, you know, not caring about my own health, not caring about my own, you know, not only my mental, but my physical and spiritual health. That I was not going to put them in an environment where they could grow up to be productive citizens, where they could actually enjoy life, like to live life in abundance, not overindulgence, right? Like, we want to live it in abundance, not overindulgence. So those 5 that I really, and this has been over time, and they shift and they change for me, but the things that really I always check myself against is, don't take myself so seriously. Take what I do seriously, but don't take myself so seriously. Have fun. You know, like, we get caught up. We all have ego, okay? It doesn't matter who you are. We all have ego. Some display it better than others. No, just joking. I did that at times, but we get caught up in our own in our own ego. Cy Wiekman says, your ego is not your amigo. And that is so incredibly true. Think about Marianne Williams. I love the quote from Marianne Williams when she says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. It's because that we take ourselves way too seriously at times. And again, I'm not saying don't take what you do seriously. I take triathlon seriously. I take my family seriously. I take my my job at DePaco seriously, but I don't take myself so seriously. It's understanding that, you know, sometimes when we take ourselves too seriously, we think it just needs to, you know, sometimes we want to take the easy way, right? Because it's about what our feelings are. And I'm not saying to discount your feelings, but I'm saying that you need to put your values ahead of your feelings, right? Do what's right, not necessarily what's easy. Like there's, you know, and I fight that battle every day. It's so hard out there. Like everything, think about all the marketing out there. Everything's telling you like it should be comfortable and easy. Like you shouldn't have to work a day in your life, all this stuff. There's a donut place here locally that tells me I deserve a donut. That's what their sign says. And I'm like, do I deserve a donut? I'm not sure. Like, but
after the triathlon last week, you probably do deserve a donut.
Okay, I enjoy an IPA too, so I did have a couple of those. So yes, I did, absolutely, and some good pizza too. But yeah, like not take yourself so seriously, and not think that your way is the only way, right? Like I had some success even when I came to DePaco. I had some success, and I remember my mentor at the time. You know, our branch was, when I was a branch manager, I was having a lot of success, and I was like, well, this is the way we should do it. This is the way we should do it. And she just really checked me and put me in place and said, your way is not the only way. Like, there are other ways. There's different ways to get from point A to point B. And if there's anybody that ever tells you that their way is the only way, I would seriously question that. Just like diets, right? Well, this diet is the only way. No. You know, like we're all different human beings. We're all different. We're all in different dynamics, racing our own race. There is no one singular way for any of us to succeed. We have to do it through our own way. So again, it's not taking yourself so seriously. And then the perfection thing. A lot of us are self-proclaimed perfectionists. Okay, and I'll take it to a spiritual piece for me, you know, and I'll share that. You know, like, it's not about perfection. No human being is perfect. Working towards great, whatever, but we should be working towards integrity. Integrity should be the goal, not perfection. And what is that? Okay, that's making decisions that are best for your team, not necessarily just what's in it for you, right? Recognizing others for their contributions to your success. None of us are self-made. Somebody, whether sometimes even negatively, impacted us to have success, right? And being consistent with who we are with our value system. So again, it's not about doing what's easy. It's about truly doing what makes you happy, and placing more on your values than your feelings. So I think that was just one, and see, I told you, like, I'm trying.
What are the other 4 that you would like to share with the UIU community?
Yeah. Value process over event. Value process over event. Invest in the process, not the results. Because if you master the process, you will master the results. You know, again, I'm going to play it into an Ironman race, right? It's a swim, bike, run. An Ironman race is a 2.4 mile swim, a 112 mile bike, and a 26.2 mile run. You have to invest in the process, not the results. I have to be more focused on what's going on in the moment and not that finish line. And it really isn't about race day. It's what I've done in the years leading up to prepare for those races that I need to really enjoy and invest in, right? Like, it's the process. It's understanding that growth really happens usually beneath the surface. And we want to see those things, right? We want to see those accolades. We want to see those results. We want to see that stuff. But I promise you, it will come if you just take care of your growth, right? Like, think about a farmer. Like, did they spend a lot of time working on growing those seeds, and they don't see those seeds for a long time, but they know they're coming, right? They don't stop watering them. They keep watering them. And they don't focus on the harvest. They focus on taking care of that seed. They focus on taking care of that seedling, that plant, and letting it flourish and bear fruit. So you got to invest in the process, not the results. It's about being happy, right? Being grateful, but never being satisfied. For me, that's how I articulate it. Like, everybody's always like, you're never happy with your race results, or you're never like, I'm happy and grateful. I'm overjoyed, but I'm also hungry. So I'm never satisfied. Happy and grateful, never satisfied. Like, literally, I'm like hungry because I just, like, so I'm always hungry. But here's the thing, as we're racing our own race, there is no proverbial finish line. I mean, we know that there's going to be an end date, right? There's going to be a date on our gravestone. That's the finish line here on earth, whatever that is for you. Now, I believe, that there's going to be other things outside of that date, off this earth, but that's our finish line here. There is no proverbial finish line while we're in existence. And the challenge with that is when we're striving to do something or become something, and then it happens, then what? Then what? Then we become depressed. You know, we go through it as Ironman athletes. Like there is an actual, I forgot what the technical name for it, but there's a thing when you're preparing for this giant event and then it happens, even if you've had success and it's over, you've prepared all this time and effort and energy, and then it's over, and then it's like, what? So you'll be so disappointed because it's going to always be like, what's next? So continue to invest in the process and understand that defining moments might help define our lives, but we are not defined by any single moment. We are not defined by any single goal. We're not defined by any single circumstance of our lives. You know, if I looked at it, you know, where I was, and I let that define me for the rest of my life, you know, I never would have been able to, and I had a great support system. So I got to say that I had an amazing woman who decided to marry me, even despite all my faults, and supported me. But we're not defined by those single moments. Don't let the failures or the challenges that you're dealing with define who you are. You know, just keep putting one step in front of the other and racing your own race, right? And it's not about, again, you know, when we're talking about value process over the results, we have to recognize that it's not necessarily just about working harder. It is about working smarter, right? As an Ironman athlete, we have to think about all the aspects of it. It's about how can we get the most bang for our buck in our training. So that's another one of those. So take what you do seriously, not yourself. Value the process over the results. My next one would be trade average for excellence. We have to set our standards higher than others. And I don't mean to overcome others. I don't mean to try to be better than somebody. That's not what I mean, but we have to trade average for excellence. I truly believe that there's just too much average in the world that we live in today. Everybody's okay with the status quo. And I'll you know, it's, you know, I've had so many different examples, but why don't we want to be great? Why don't we want to be something amazing? Like we're the only us in this entire universe, this entire world. Like we're meant to be something special, whatever that special is. Now that special is not defined by your bank account. That special is not defined by a title. That special is not defined by necessarily what are, again, any defining moment, but we are meant for something special. So we need to continue to trade average for excellence. We create our own limits. That's what's the crazy thing about it. Like, why do we create our own limits? Isn't it crazy if we set a goal, we meet that goal? Why didn't we do better than that? How is it just so, isn't it so weird? Oh, well, we have a goal of, I'm going to lose 10 pounds and we lose exactly 10 pounds. Why couldn't we lose 11? I don't know, because we're just set up to meet these limits and these expectations of these quotas just by checking the box. Now, I'm not saying don't have goals, because I'll talk about that too. Goals are important, but don't shoot for a quota, shoot for what your potential is. You know, Sharon Wood, I'm going to read this quote. Sharon Wood, she was the first North American woman to climb Mount Everest. And she said of her experience this. She said, I discovered it wasn't a matter of physical strength, but a matter of psychological strength. The conquest lay in my own mind to penetrate those barriers of self-imposed limitations to get the good stuff, the stuff called potential. 90% of what we barely use. So if you want to tap into that unused 90%, ask, how can I? Do that, and greater achievement becomes a matter of when and how, not if. I think that is incredibly powerful, right? Because we are incredibly limitless. There's so much, we have so much incredible potential, right? And that doesn't mean just, you know, wanting to win, okay? Like, it drives me nuts when they're like, oh my gosh, this person, I'm so competitive. Because you like to beat your grandma at checkers doesn't make you competitive. It makes you want to win. That's all, you know, like truly competitive people. If you're truly competitive, no matter what you're trying to compete at, you're going to put the work and the effort in that it's going to take to create the best opportunity for you to win at whatever you're trying to win at as you race your own race, right? And we've understood over this whole pandemic that we don't control a lot of things, right? We don't have control. But what do we have control over? We have control over our attitude. Now, that doesn't mean we can all be rainbows and butterflies and positive attitude all the time. That doesn't exist. We're not perfect. But it does say, what are the little things that we can continue to try to control? What are the things that we can mitigate to the best as possible to put ourselves in the best position as possible to succeed? So, trade average for excellence. Keep going, the other two.
Another great one. I am going to interrupt you quickly though.
Yes.
We did have, and this kind of goes back to your racing and kind of ties into what you've been talking about. So I do have two questions. The first one we have is, what is better, the preparation for a race or the race themselves, or maybe when the race is done? So in just kind of in your thinking and how you prepare for everything that you've done, so kind of using race even as a, ideology for that too. What's better, the preparation, the race, or when you're done? And you can thank our good friend Jesse for that question.
Oh my gosh, thanks, Jesse. Thanks for throwing up. Thanks for that. Well, because it's usually like it's either, again, it's that binary thing. Is it the race or the preparation? In the done part. Okay, so I really enjoy the training. I enjoy the camaraderie that I have with my teammates. I mean, triathlon is an individual sport. I race on an elite team, a national elite team where I'm able to score points for the team. But at the end of the day, it's about trying to cross that finish line first. And mind you, it's not I might be the physical person that crosses that finish line, but it does take a community, and it does take an incredible support system of coaches, of family, of love, of sacrifice to get me there. So I will say that 100%. So I will say that I really enjoy that. But there is something incredibly special because my girls get to go to a lot of the races, and they were down in Chattanooga with me. And when I come out of the swim, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
When I come out of the swim and I see their beautiful faces and they're just putting their hands out for me, and I get to I just went through this grueling swim in this river and whatever, and then I get to high five them and see that they are experiencing now. They're experiencing in some of the training stuff too, and the people that we surround ourselves with, but they're surrounded by 3,000 inspirational athletes that are going to make an impact on their lives. They're going to remember those experiences. So I think that there's something incredibly special about the race that itself. And I really do enjoy the racing. The after is great, Jesse. I enjoy having a few IPAs. I enjoy that, but it's all over. So it's like, I got to start training for Ironman Des Moines in 4 weeks, right? So I enjoy the race just because of that element of being around such such inspirational people. My aunt did the race this last weekend too, and she's racing her own race, right? She finished many hours after me, but it was more inspirational to see her out on that course and her doing what she did on that day than what I could do on any single day. And for my girls to see that as an older woman, as an attorney who's sitting there and who she has her own struggles and being able to get through those challenges, it's incredibly special. Long-winded answer, Jesse.
That's okay. And the next question is, and this is kind of going back to the competencies that we chatted about a little bit earlier, and we'll kind of tie into the last two, thoughts that you have regarding, the kind of things that have kept you going. But talking about competencies, think back to when you were a student at Upper Iowa. What career competencies do you feel you were most confident in by the time you graduated from Upper Iowa? And it doesn't have to be the career readiness competencies that we have talked about. It can be just any career competency in general. What was the thing that you felt most confident in as you got ready to move on to the next step in your life?
Yeah, I don't know that I was incredibly competent though, so it's hard to like, you know, to pick something. Looking back on it, I was pretty arrogant though. I thought I was pretty competent. So I would have to say initiative. I would have to say initiative because in a lot of areas of my life, I've been really self-driven, and I've been self-driven not because there's something special about me, but because of the experiences that I've had, right? I think I've lost my way too. You know, when I was at Upper Iowa, I lost my way I really lost, I lost what got me there as far as from an athletic standpoint. And I kind of gave up on myself. And I don't think I definitely certainly didn't reach my potential or my ability level while I was playing football at Upper Iowa, because I wasn't valuing the process. I was so focused on the event. Like when I was in high school, I was shooting for a college scholarship. When I got to junior college, I was shooting for to go to a 4-year school. And then when I got to a 4-year school, it's like, oh, I'm here. Okay, there's nothing next. So I'm just going to party and hang out. And, you know, I went through the motions, but I wasn't a good enough athlete to go through the motions. I wasn't. And prior to that, I took a lot of initiative. I worked my butt off. I did the extra workouts. Like I do now, like I have to. Like I'm not as a good athlete as those people that I toe the line with. But I'll tell you what, my work ethic and my initiative, I'm not hopefully overconfident or arrogant with it, but I believe in them and I believe in myself with those things.
Thank you very much. Work ethic is one of those competencies that we hope students have and have developed when they leave Upper Iowa. So that's good. What are the last 2 insights? You'd mentioned that you had 5 of them, and we've already talked a little bit about the 3. What are the last 2 insights that you would like to share with the URU community?
Yeah. Don't take shortcuts. Simple as that. That means that we have to be growth focused. Like the easy way, I promise you, is most likely not the right way. The easy path is usually not the right way. And sometimes we can't, again, if we're not investing in the process, we can't let a lack of short-term success, or worse, having short-term success impact our long-term significance, because it's really about having a significant, fruitful, and abundant life, not about just these little successes here and there, whether they're titles or whether, again, they're financial or whatever they may be. John Wooden said it best, and he said that success is peace of mind and knowing that you have given your best to become the best that you're capable of becoming. So if that's true, by that definition, if we give our best effort, best honest effort, then we have succeeded even if we fall short of a goal. So don't take shortcuts trying to reach some quota or some goal. Just give your best effort. And again, I'm not saying that goals shouldn't exist, because goals should exist. They're a barometer that give us the tangible results of our efforts. I have goals when I go into a race, right? Now, I might meet those and I might not meet those, but I got to evaluate the situation. I got to evaluate the race. I got to evaluate my experiences so I can live in the present and continue to create hope for the future. So I put this equation together a while ago, but it was coming home on a plane from after a conference that I had spoke at. But if we have no goals plus no failures, that equals no growth. Success is peace of mind, as John Wooden said. Success is just peace of mind. So don't take shortcuts. And the last would say, and I think it's the most incredibly important, is we have to give more than we receive. We have to give more than we receive. And that means not necessarily just our presence, our money, those types of things, the tangible things. It's about giving our presence, us as human beings, the most valuable thing, the thing that you're all giving us right now is your time. And that's our most valuable thing that we can give anybody. When we're talking about community, when we're talking about the relationships that we build, when we're talking about how are we going to, grow ourselves so we can grow others. We have to be in connection and we have to have those relationships. And that's why I think it's so incredibly important. And what you do is because you're helping building those bonds, you're helping building relationships through career development. You're helping tie people in, you're helping these networking opportunities. And I hope I know we were talking, like if we can just give one person one nugget, like I'm not naive to think that this is going to impact all the people that are listening, but if there's just one little nugget that somebody takes away, if there's one networking opportunity that I can create to add value to somebody else's life, that's significance. So give more than you receive.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great way to tie in those 5 insights that you have. I think it's all information and advice that we can all utilize regardless of how far we are in our career development, career process, and our journey. So there was a lot, you unloaded a lot of stuff on us tonight, but are there any other things that you would encourage students or alums to ask themselves when they're looking to improve upon their personal or professional maturity and success? Are there any just kind of last minute nuggets, so to speak, that you would unleash on them?
Yep. So I would say that you have to continue to ask yourself the questions. You have to have the 5 for you, just 5, 3, 4, whatever you want to create. You have to have those that create your North Star, but you have to continually ask yourself the questions. And the questions that I would encourage you to ask yourself are, how are you investing in the process? How are you investing in the process, whether that's daily or weekly? How are you investing in the process? How are you taking what you do seriously and not yourself? What are you doing to avoid shortcuts in order to achieve long-term results? How are you trading average for excellence? How are you giving your presence, not just your presence? And asking, what's your next challenge? And what are you fighting for? What are you truly fighting for? What is your why? What is your purpose? What is your passion? And when we think about passion, passion isn't this cliche word that people like to throw around these days. Passion is derived from the Greek word to suffer. So what are you doing? If you're truly passionate about it, you're truly willing to suffer, to work hard, and to create an abundant life.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
We talked about the competencies and the skills that we hope students have when they graduate. Are there other ways, any last minute, pieces of advice that you would encourage them on ways that they can improve upon those skills and competencies?
Yeah, you need a mentor. Like you need multiple mentors. You need people like Anne. You need people like, I know Jesse's out there. I don't know who else is out there. I can't see anybody or anything, but you need people like Jesse. You need people that will the people that will be truthful to you, the people that will give you honest, constructive criticism because they love you. You need those people in your life because they're not going to give you the answers. They're going to help ask the right questions that will help uncover the answers that exist in you already. You just don't know it yet. So I think that's really important. And then the next one I would say that's probably a little less important but critical is you got to know yourself. And how do you get to know yourself? You can do it a number of different ways. Again, you can take self-assessments. There's DISC assessments. There's predictive index. There's the Strengths Finders 2.0. I love that one. But not because it defines us, but because it gives us some insights and some ability to start asking those questions and understanding our why, our purpose, and our passions. And so we can know ourselves because we can't add value to anybody else, and it can't happen through us until it happens in us and until we know who we are.
Very good. Thank you. To kind of tie everything and wrap everything up tonight, are there any final pieces of advice just in general that you would give to UOU students, alums, and the university community as a whole?
The biggest gap in life is between what we know and what we do. Ask yourself how you can close that gap. What are you doing on a daily basis to stay disciplined enough to do all the little things that will allow you to close that gap? And never, ever, ever underestimate the compounding effect of consistency.
Perfect. I think that's a wonderful piece of advice to end your speaker series talk on. RJ, I want to thank you so much for joining us this evening. And I hope that anyone that's watching the live or that is watching a recording, I know that RJ would be more than happy to network with you and connect with you. So if anybody is interested in getting a hold of RJ, you could definitely reach out to myself in the career development office, and I will be more than happy to provide you his contact information and get the two of you connected. So again, thank you for joining us this evening. And we are going to take a break from the speaker series for the summer, and we will be relaunching again in September. So we hope that you will all join us again in the fall when we welcome students back to campus and kick things back off again. So again, thank you, RJ, for this evening, and everyone have a wonderful night.